One of the things I love about Montclair is that we've got people from all over the world. In my experience, there's no better way to get to know someone than eating the food that brings them home. So let's cook up special dishes with the people that make up the fabric of our campus.
Koppell interview, Antonio, take one.
Hi, my name is Antonio Talamo and I'm a staff member here at Montclair State University. And today I've decided to cook broccoli rabe and sausage with orecchiette pasta with Dr. Koppell. So I decided to cook this dish particularly because this Italian dish is from the region of Italy in which I'm from, which is known as Puglia. And the ingredients are true and authentic to that place. For the first 9 years of my life, I grew up there before my parents migrated to America. I grew up in Jersey City, which was very different than Italy. And so that has really played a role, I think, in my upbringing and how I ended up in higher education, really. I think sometimes people think of Italy as just being like sauces, and for this reason, I wanted to show Dr. Koppell kind of the flexibility of the Italian cuisine, and I can't wait to taste how this turns out.
Okay, we're back for another episode of Cooking with Koppell, and I'm excited to have as our guest today Antonio Talamo, who's the Assistant Director of the Student Center. So what are we going to be making today, Antonio?
Okay, so today we're going to do a sausage and broccoli rabe with orecchiette pasta. Of course, as an Italian, I was very particular. I said we need to start with some good olive oil. We're gonna get some in here, all right? Just a good splash. And we're gonna let that heat up. We're gonna put some garlic. Now, I will say that this is the star of the show is not gonna be the garlic.
Okay.
So
don't go crazy with the
yeah,
garlic.
so don't go crazy on it. If you really like it, add it in, but it's just a little dab to flavor the olive oil. And what we're also gonna do is we're gonna sprinkle in a little bit of the red crushed pepper.
Okay.
Now, it doesn't have to be spicy. It's just to, again, we're gonna flavor the oil, just give it a little bit of that heat.
Yeah.
When I first got here, I actually did not want people to know I was Italian.
Okay.
And I don't know if that was just like trying to get into the culture
Just the
faster.
immigrant
Exactly.
experience, right?
But then I also felt myself frustrated when people would mispronounce words, and so I, for a long time, said they're not Italian. And then as I got older, I was like, well, their grandparents are Italian and they've just kind of adopted.
Yeah.
And there are some really great Italian-American dishes that don't exist in Italy, right? Like chicken parm is not a thing,
Right.
vodka, strombolis. Those are all like American-made things that I also find
pretty
delicious.
good.
And they're delicious. All right,
what's
let's
next?
add in the broccoli rabe. Now, I'll tell you, you have the folks who boil their broccoli rabe, okay?
Yeah.
And then you have the people who will just pan-sear it. This has been pre-blanched.
Okay. Yeah, I love broccoli rabe. We were talking about it, but not everybody's had it. So describe the taste, because I don't know that everybody
Yes.
knows what it is.
It is bitter.
Yeah.
It is bitter. And so you really got to cook it down because the stems will be a little bit tough.
Right.
And when you boil it, it removes some of that bitterness. But you know, if you're tough, you're eating it, you know, just kind of sautéed like this.
All right, so we're ready
So
to
I'm
put
gonna
sausage
saute.
in.
We need to season it a little bit.
Okay.
All right, just a very light, because the sausage will be salty and so will the cheese. But I just like to give it a little sprinkle. Yeah. Once you get that, let's get some sausage in there. Let's mix it all.
Yeah, you
up.
may say garlic's not the star of the show, but I love the smell of the garlic.
It does smell delicious right now, doesn't it?
So you said you were 9 years old when you came to the U.S. What prompted your parents to immigrate?
People leave Italy to get jobs even after attending university.
Right.
So I think they recognized really early on, like, we've got to make the move. Before we throw this in, these are known from the region of Puglia.
Okay. Oh, I didn't know that.
If you travel in Puglia, you'll sometimes see, if you get into town, you'll see some like old women wearing their muumuus just outside in the summers, kind of making the pasta and shaping it with their fingers. Orecchiette means small ears.
Right.
So not hats.
I knew that.
Small
That
ears.
was within my Italian.
There you go.
Ears. How'd you end up here at the university? How did higher ed become where you ended up?
Yeah.
Like, so how did that little kid who showed up in New Jersey, now you're here at Montclair State University? Talk a little bit about
Well, I
the space in between.
I was good at school, and you know, my father was a construction worker, no surprise, right? My mom stayed home, and I didn't really have anything else to fall back on because I just wasn't a kid that was, you know, gonna get his hands dirty. And I found myself being the first person in my family to go to college.
Right, like so many of our
Like
students.
so I relate to the folks here, and I went to the local state school in Jersey City.
Yeah.
They were really, really pivotal to my development as a leader, as an individual. They've got a lot of great representation of folks that kind of went through what I went through.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until my junior year where I realized that going to school and getting good grades was not going to get me a job. The only thing I had on my resume was a GPA.
Yeah.
And realized that that's not how it works. No one told me, right? And so I got involved very quickly. I represented the university in a matter of a year and a half, 3 semesters. I traveled to India. I did service projects in Mexico. I got involved with our student government. And very quickly someone said, hey, you know you could do this as a job, as a career. And so I went on to get my master's degree there in counseling, which really is the backbone of my work.
Right.
Even though I don't do it directly,
No.
we all kind of
doing
counsel.
it every day, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I always say, like, I got really lucky to be here. And I truly love the work that I get to do here. Our students are incredible. And this is a pecorino romano cheese.
Okay.
And so I'm gonna just top mine off here, just enough to give it a nice creamy texture.
Yeah. It looks really good.
Yeah, you're gonna see the cheese also melt in there because it's a very stringy cheese. Should we plate right there?
Yeah.
All right, hopefully I don't make a mess.
Because it'll be it's gotta be a good shot.
Yeah, all right.
All right, so we put a little olive oil on top?
Yeah, we're just a little bit.
Okay.
That way, because we fried it up mostly, but this is the star of the show. So just give it a little top there. There you go.
It looks
Great.
good.
Yeah, now I'm hungry.
All right, well, let's eat. Okay, so now's the really fun part, which is we get to eat, so it looks delicious.
All right.
Any special ritual before we eat this dish?
Nope. You
All
dig
right,
in.
you
There's
just
no
dig in.
formality
Okay,
at
good.
all. But you know, as you're like grabbing, you gotta grab a little bit of everything.
Okay.
That's
That's
usually-
true.
That's why forks are just so good.
Very yummy.
Mm-hmm.
So when you eat this, are you a little boy back in Puglia? Like, does it have a transformative effect to your childhood?
It's funny because it actually brings me just to here in America.
Well, that's interesting.
In Italy, I think I would think more of kind of like, the pizzas and the more hearty foods. Like we eat a lot of like beans and lentils with our pastas. But this, for some reason, just reminds me of my grandma who, I don't know, brings it home for me. I don't know why. Ironically, right? You would think it would take me back, but.
You talked a little bit about that, wanting to adjust and be American. Because I think a lot of our students who either are immigrants themselves or their parents are immigrants, there's that navigation between wanting to blend in. This is the oldest story in America, right?
Yep.
Wanting to blend in, but also retain your identity. How did you navigate that as you grew up?
Well, it was really hard. English is not my first language. I think I mastered it after some time, but I mean, even though I may have looked American when I spoke, I stood out. Ironically, though, growing up in Jersey City, we had very similar tales from different countries, right? I had my friends who were from, Latin America or migrated from different places. So in a weird way, I assimilated. But I'll be honest and say that for the first 5 or 6 years, I almost tried to completely remove my Italianness.
Yeah.
Like I actually forgot how to speak Italian.
Oh, wow.
And then I went back to visit because it's expensive to travel. Finally got a chance to go back, and I remembered how great the culture was and like my upbringing, and I took that back with me, and I think since then I've really embraced it more.
A lot of the student organizations that you interact with, obviously, every day are about what country people are from, their ethnicity. It's a celebration of that. And has your own experience been relevant to you working with those students?
Yeah, 100%. I think what's nice is I try to share my story with the students because I think it normalizes this experience, right? Like the multiple identities.
Yeah.
Here you're a college student studying, your parents have no idea what you're doing.
Totally common.
I mean, you tell them psychology, which was my major, and they're like, my grandma thought I could read her mind. Literally, right?
Yeah.
And I think that kind of helps them say, oh, I'm not alone. Like someone gets where I'm coming from and,
Right.
and what that looks like.
I learned from students, actually, not just here, but in Arizona, was that the notion that the first-gen student, that their family is all super supportive and super enthusiastic, and they're all, that's not true at all.
No.
And that it's very alienating.
Yep.
I don't know if you had that experience or you've been able to help students work through that. Does that resonate with you?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I have students who tell me that their parents don't want to give them their information to apply for financial aid. My mom was the same. She said, why am I giving you my social security number? I'm like, no, it's a government. Is it? You know, they're going to take my information. When they hear me say that, I think they're kind of relieved.
That it's not just them.
That it's not just them. So, absolutely. I would say it's not that they weren't supportive.
Mm-hmm.
It was just more they didn't understand. Because my parents were like, you either go to college or you just get a job. Like they didn't push college on me.
Yeah.
It was that foreign to them.
Right.
And so they understood it later, right? So it's very interesting how it can play out so differently for different first geners.
All right. So I have a special dessert treat for you. So I have something that you didn't know you needed.
Okay. Okay.
So you know Annabella, who we did a
course.
show with, and so what you didn't know you needed was an empanadasaurus. Dinosaur empanada.
All right, now the question is, did you make that?
That is made by President Koppell. That's an original.
All right. Well,
And you
the
don't
formality is to say thank you.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes, and it does look like a stegosaurus. My 3-year-old would say it's a stegosaurus.
And he would eat it, right?
And
because it's a dinosaur.
And he would eat it, so we've got to eat it.
All right, I'm ready. Let's go. All right.
Well, cheers.
There we go. Cross-cultural meal planning at Montclair State University. Fantastic.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Antonio, this was great. It was great to hear about the work that you're doing with our students, and so fantastic about how your journey got you here, where I think our students get the benefit of your experience, and you're in a position to use all of your accumulated knowledge to do great stuff.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Including cooking.
Yeah, that's great.
Thank you for joining us. Tune in next time when we'll have another delicious dish and we'll meet another fantastic member of the Montclair community.